Hey, what up, everybody? How y'all doing? Pastor Dee Jay here, the People's Pastor, coming to you from the woods. I hope everybody's having a great and wonderful Monday. I know that I am. I'm out here chilling with my family, having good times. Hey, that's even better. Making things better each and every day. Just a little bit just making things better just a little bit every day. Ain't that right, Shalana? Just a little bit every day. So hey, welcome. How y'all doing? This is Pastor DJ from the Woods. I'm chilling. Got some good things to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is what we are, who we are, and why you're watching. We are the Movement Ministries. We have been a ministry for a long time now, probably going on 7, 8 years, and we are about bringing the truth of hope, justice, mercy, righteousness, and God's will. We don't want to bring you anything that is false or untrue in any way, shape, or form. Because you know what? Hope is real. That's what I hold on to every day, and I'm still walking every single day. I haven't stopped. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand. Take that outside, please. Welcome to the Reed family. It is what it is. uh, but for 8 years, going on 8 years, we've had this ministry. It's Isaiah 6:8. It's about will you go? Will you tell people the truth? Will you be there even when nobody's listening to you? Even when everybody's like, yeah, you crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. Isaiah said, send me, and we say, send me. If you go on further in that scripture, 9 and 10, it says there will be a time where you will tell people the truth, they will not listen. You can show people the truth, they will not see. So much happens in that. That is not to say that that's what is some type of prophetic thing. It is just the mission statement of what we are. We are ones that will move for God whenever He says uh, to do what we're supposed to do. Um, it's a hard thing to do, but it's well worth it. And then once you get in the move of it and in the groove of it, it becomes a little easier every day because it becomes just a little bit better every day. Your eyes get open just a little bit more every day. So we come on here to bring you the truth. Uh, I have a question to answer today, so we're going to answer that first. But I'm also getting ready to teach about what is the gospel, because I want the truth of the gospel to be heard because it was revealed to me. Not prophetically, not like this prophetic word. It was revealed to me what that was truly. That's what I live by, and I still know that that's the truth. That's the gospel. So we're going to get into that. But first, we're going to talk about this question. And it comes from Facebook. And if you want to go to the movement's Facebook page, check it out. The question's there. The question is I need some help with this verse of the Bible, please. 1 Corinthians 7 and 27. Are you married? Stay married. Are you unmarried? Don't get married. The question is, can we decide not to get married? Is marriage a decision and not a law in the Bible? And the verse says this. I'm going to share it to you on the screen. So I can put the music back up. Ain't nothing like some music in the background. 27. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosed. Are you loosed from a wife? Do not seek a wife. Translation they shared on Facebook says this. It says it like this: if you have a wife, do not try to become free from her. If you are not married, do not try to find a wife. But if you decide to marry, you have not sinned. And if a girl who has never even married decides to marry, she has not sinned. All right. First off, before we can talk about 27 and 28, we have to understand the context, the historical context of what's really going on here, because so much we try to formulate a life plan and a life pattern off the words that we read. These are some great words that Paul shared to the church of Corinthians. So he was talking to a church and very many people of the church. And I say it in that form because it was truly the church back then. It was one people trying to become one body, trying to listen to one way. And if y'all cannot sit still in here, y'all can leave. Y'all can leave. I'm trying to teach. So we have to go back to the fact that Paul in itself, who he was writing it to, why he was writing it to these people at this time, and what he was writing it for at this time. So at this time, this was around 51, 53 AD. So this was about 20 years before Christianity had really been under a hard press of people at the time. So around this time, it just had started to happen during this situation that Paul was in. The reason why this was even wrote was because at this time there was division amongst people about how to be married, what it meant to be married, these things of that nature. But I want to go back because if we don't go back to the very first when we talk about this, we have to see something very beautiful when it comes to looking at the Bible and understanding of the Bible and why we even have it. We have it because Paul was able to reach a group of people about the gospel, about Christianity, and there was a such thing as Christianity at this time. It was literally people trying to follow Christ. Paul and these other people, Peter, James, John, they were going around people and they were sharing it with them. And they were trying to pull them all together because at this time the church of Corinth was over here. Paul went and met with them. And so in this context, listen to verse 25. Before you go any further, Paul is so beautiful about this because we overlook these small things and then we put ourselves in this passage. Do not put yourself in this passage because what was happening at this time is not happening in the world today. However, we can resemble and we can look like what Paul wants us to look like as far as being a Christ follower, but those things are not happening that was happening at that time today. So we go to 25. I want you to read 25 before I read anything else. About virgins, I have no command from the Lord, but I give an opinion as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy. So before we even get started, Paul says, hey, yo, look, this ain't from God. This ain't from anybody. This is just my personal opinion about the whole situation because I've had time to formulate an experience and see what's been going on around the world at that time. See, we only get a small itty bitty glimpse of what 20 years looks like back then. I mean, at this time, I think Christ had, I think it's been at this time, what, 50 years since Yeshua had died on the cross? I mean, that's a long time. So we're getting a bit of what Paul would have said to the Corinthians, and historically, we know Paul had wrote to these people. So we know historically this is a true time period, and in this time period, these things were to be true. And so we get it set up that in our minds, we then put ourselves in the Word, and we want to say, oh, because Paul said this, then we got to jump through hoops to become that. No, man, things are different culturally, uh, geographically, um, 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 financially. I mean, so many different factors are different than what they were today as it was yesterday. In the yesteryears, we would have had Roman guards just walking around us all the time. But today we just have like two or three police cars. So you see, there's a whole total different atmosphere as far as what it meant to follow Christ back then as what it means to follow Christ today. But following Christ means you're going to God for everything. Going to God for everything. Going to God. Going to God. You have to go to him. You have to. That's who you go to. You do not go to Christ and say, Christ, give me this. You go to God and ask him. So, to set it up about virgins, I have no command from the Lord, but I give an opinion as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy. So he said, hey, look, I've been doing this. You can trust me. This is what. Hold on. Excuse me. So first off, if you're reading this and then you're taking this and you're making a life plan based around this verse, I know it probably shouldn't, but let's get into the rest of it before you make that decision. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosed. Are you loosed from a wife? Do not seek a wife. However, if you do get married, you have not sinned, and if a virgin married, she has not sinned. But such people will have trouble in this life, and I'm trying to spare you. Read it again. R. Start at 26. Therefore, consider this to be good because of the present distress. It is fine for a man to remain as he is. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosed. Are you loosed from a wife? Do not seek a wife. However, if you do get married, you have not sinned. And if a virgin married, she has not sinned. But such people will have trouble in this life, and I'm trying to spare you. All right, let's break this down. Back then, there was, like I said, there were times where things were hard for people who would claim Christ, who would claim Christianity. So what he was telling them in this time, because things were getting rougher and rougher for those people around. Look, stay as you are. Stay right where you are. If you here, then be here. Don't try to do anything crazy because we know that Yeshua is coming back soon. And and Paul was telling them that. Hey, look, in my opinion, I don't think I would go out here and do all this, getting a divorce, do this, do that. So don't seek after that. And so if we take a look at that, that just means that at this time, things maybe people do different stuff according to the law. If we go back, and I'm going to read something from my people's, my people. I want you to listen to this. So in my believer's commentary, I'm going to read what it says about 26, 27, and 28 because it's so on the money. In general, it is good to be unmarried because of the present distress. The present distress refers to the sufferings of this early life in general. Perhaps there was a specific time of distress at the time Paul wrote this letter. However, distress has continued to exist and will last until the Lord comes. Paul's advice is that those who are already married should not ask to be separated. On the other hand, if a man is loose from a wife, he should not seek loose from a wife. Here does not only mean a widowed or divorced, it simply means free from the marriage bond. It could include those who never married. Nothing Paul says should be constructed to indicate that it is a sin to marry. After all, marriage was instituted by God in the Garden of Eden before sin ever entered the world. It was God himself who decreed it is not good that man should be alone. Marriage is honorable among all and in the bed undefiled. Paul elsewhere speaks those who forbid to marry as being a sign of latter-day apostasy. What they were saying, what Paul was referring to was the certificate of marriage. The way back then it was not just about the certificate of marriage; it was also about that laying with somebody else. So if it goes back to the Old Testament, if in the Old Testament, if you laid with somebody, technically you formed a union and a bond with that person. So then you were considered him and her a marriage in that union because that was very, very intentional. So when we talk about the question at hand, here's the thing. I would advise you to take your time to make any decision about how you should or should not get married. I believe that if a man and a woman can truly be together with somebody, with one another, it is going to take God at the helm. And then there is also that other parts of that. It is never going to be a governmental institution that keeps you together. The government only wants to keep track of who and what you're and why you're doing it. I ain't saying that's a good thing, and I ain't saying that's a bad thing. That's just what they're doing. You're on a registry, so they can then tell you how you split up your money. They can then tell you how to do the things they want you to do if you ever become divorced. I say these things because in the way God wants it to be done, and the way God instituted it, is for a man and a woman to become one in a partnership to enjoy the fruits of this earth. So you take somebody like, I don't know, I know I'm not going to use no names. So I know a couple outside of me and Shalane and some other people. I know a couple who 2 years ago they went and they got married before God, and they are just thriving in their marriage. God is at the center of it. They're just running with it. They're doing wonderfully. And that's 2 years. I'm just saying that's 2 years in. That's nothing. That's no time whatsoever. However, I also known the same person before all that, and that person looked totally and utterly different and totally and utterly happy. I saw them the other day. They were like, man, life is good. We're doing this. We having to do that. And I was like, man, that's awesome. They got married before God because what they had was not institutionalized under a registration. It was, hey, look, I believe that God put us together, and I would much rather have him deal with us than, say, some government institution saying, hey, this is how you got to get a divorce. This is how, man, you know how many hoops you got to jump through to try to get a divorce? There's a lot. At the end of the day, being married before God actually is a better and stronger bond than any governmental institution. If you go do it, go do it. I'm not telling you whether you should or should not do that. That will be all the decision that a man has to pray about. A man has to pray. That's the thing about how I teach you guys versus other people teach you. The revelations I have, I just want you to go and you take it and you pray about it and you fast about it. I had to pray and fast and talk and do the things that I needed to do as a leader, as a man, to make sure what I was doing was correct with God. I couldn't just be like, boom. But God talks to me differently than the way he's going to talk to you. He's going to confirm his word with me differently than he confirmed it with you. It's just the way that it is. So that's why, for me, I can't look at you and tell you, well, if you do this every single day, and I can tell you, like, look, if you read Proverbs every single day, if you do it, probably become a better person. I say that all the time. If you do, this is probably. I can't tell you for a fact because I can't live you. We so much try to put ourselves in the word itself that it confines each and every one of us, even God himself, to this one book. God is bigger than this one book, yo. God is bigger. So when God lets you and introduces you to that one person that's going to be your helpmate, that's what you should be asking yourself. Am I yoked with this person? Can I build with this person? Can I foresee with this person? Not whether she's a virgin, not whether she's anything, not whether, it does not matter at the end of the day. Because if a man's following after God, then everything else will follow in line. I do. That's how I can tell you. But you're not going to live through the life experiences that I have. So when you read the Bible, read for what it says and learn it, because it's important for you to know. It's not important for you to put yourself in it. One of the first things that I ever learned is that you have to exegete this word. And that is remove everything, including yourself and everything else, and read it for what it is. Paul was writing to a group of people who was in distress about sexual immorality, about being married, about this, about that. And Paul was trying to bring them together. But it was his opinion. That's what modern day Christianity would tell you, that when you go into we ain't going down that way. See? Thank you, God. So Paul was giving you his opinion. He wasn't giving it like, oh, God said for me to tell you this. He said, hey, look, here's some good advice. He was also telling them this because, hey, look, being in a marriage, no matter whether it's under the governmental institution, whether it's under just God, or whether it's under both, or however people do it. Because look, on the flip side of that thing, people will be like, hey, you can't just get married under God. You have to have this. And there are people who just go out and elope and never do it in front of God. So, I mean, who is right, who is wrong? So you think about that. Who is right, who is wrong? There are people who just run out here, get eloped, go in front of a judge, and that's it. They don't go to a church building. They don't go have their ceremonial vows in front of a pastor or a preacher. And they claim to know Christ and all that. So you have to ask yourself, who is really right or wrong? It is not about the right or wrong. It is about the walk that you walk with God to say, as a head, this is the best decision for my household. I do not, and I will continue to tell you, I do not need a piece of paper to marry you, divorce you, be my kid, be anything to me. I don't need anything like that to have you in my life. If I'm that in your life, then I'm that in your life. Plain and simple. I learned that because of the gospel, because of the good news. What up, Michael? Possibly. But you're here now. So, anyways, I'm about out of time. See, about out of time. So I hope this helps you guys when you are reading the Bible and addressing these questions. I did not give you a direct and specific answer because there is really, truly no direct and specific answer that is going to be valuable enough to come above what even Paul says is only his opinion. So take what you read and go a little deeper, and take what you know and bring it to the forefront like this young person did. I would love to hear more questions so we can get some clarity on what really means to be the truth. Doing and living the truth. Doing it God's way. I do. I do it God's way. Period. Nothing deters me from that. Yeah. It's pretty awesome too. Everything that he has said that was going to happen in my life has continued to still happen. It's crazy. Even right now, I have in with me right now, a wife and 4 kids, 2 sons and 2 daughters, with me right now, and we are just chilling. And I have not been at this much peace ever in my entire life, and have the much creativity, freedom to know myself even more. Not ever had that. Bills are paid, food, everything. It's just moving forward, time and time again. It says something about when you write it down, you pray over it, you fast over it. For us to even be right here, right now, I wrote it down. I wish I had my brown, as you could see it, wrote down, draw it out. I put it all down on a piece of paper, and here it is. I didn't do that. Been bumps in the road. It's been well worth it because I'm here right now. So I hope this answers your question. If you need anything else, any more advice, please hit me up. Not on www.radioforchrist.com. There's a website coming for you guys to be able to hit me up. To have some one-on-one sessions, talk about the Bible, talk about the Word. Let's dive deeper into it so you guys can truly understand what it's there for, not for what people tell you to take it as. Rewind and play that back again. I want you to understand what it's there for and not what people tell you to take it as. Because there's a big difference. Because I take it for what it's there for. Yeah. Well, store's coming. Merch is coming. Keep looking out. I'll give you a website here pretty soon. Everything's coming along. Like I said, things happen. Life happens. Things hit us. We get quick. We got to stick and move. When life hits you down, you can't just hit rock bottom and give up. You got to stand up, rise up like a phoenix. This is for everybody out there. God wanted us in the Garden of Eden. You can look at it, the Garden of Eden, in the book of Jasher, in the book of Enoch. The very many books that are out there that has been wrote about God. He wants us to enjoy what we can create and establish through His will, not Christ's will, not Jesus' will, not Yeshua's will, what God's will is. God's will is for us as men to find a helpmate that He has given us and created for us. I have one. She's off the diggity chain, yo. The diggity chain. Y'all ain't never heard that. You know what a diggity chain is? Here, look. I'm going to show you what a diggity chain is. Let me show you what a diggity chain is. That right there is a diggity chain. That right there is a diggity chain. She is just off the hook. You're talking about a helpmate. You're talking about a wife. You're talking about a Proverbs 31 woman. That right there. I don't know what to tell you. And I ain't do nothing. I don't even feel. Man, let me tell you what. When you find what God is giving you, when you ain't finding it, it finds you. I don't know how all that works. We're gonna talk about that another day. We're not talking about today. What I am gonna tell you is that living for Him, I have yet ever been this happy and found a woman that loves me as much as this woman does. And I mean loves me unconditionally. People can say, well, it's only been 8 months and you can be all in the honeymoon stage and do. And let me tell you what, no matter what or where we're at any stage, there's just something I can tell you that's different than about anything else I've ever been with. Anybody I've ever been with. This is God directed solely by Him. Nothing that I decided has been through for anything. It's been because of Him. That's all I can tell you. That's why I say when you read this scriptures, when you read them, take them for the time period that they were in, what they were going through. Why Paul would have told this to the Corinthians. Study more the historical background, because then you can then try to relate to the culture that you may be in. Paul may have been talking to the Corinthians, and it may resonate with the poor culture in our society over here. I can't tell you one way or the other. Ooh, stop it! Stop it! If you read the book of Thessalonians, you might be saying, hey, this is my culture. This is what we're going through. Man, I could take this and we could learn from this and we can study this and we can try to. Not every single bit of the New Testament or Old Testament is meant specifically for us to the day of other than just knowing God's history, what we're supposed to do, giving us a purpose. And I'm going to tell you, we are more supposed to be like an Abraham than anything else that's in there. When people say, like, oh, become a David, we're not trying to become Davids. None of us should be trying to become a murdering adulterer. None of us should try to become that. He was a great king and did great things and did many great things for God. But do your own thing for God. Because that's what he created the Garden of Eden for them to do their own thing for God. So when God gives a husband, a wife, kids, do your thing for God. Don't try to set up a church building. Just do your thing for God. Learn from one another. I hope you guys learn from this. And then I hope you buy my merch. Because it helps our family. Buy the merch when the store gets open. Everybody in our family is included in this merch. Everybody. Everybody has a part. Every single person plays a part in this merchandise going out. To give you hope. To give you truth. To give you something that more to stand on than just some book that says you got to live just this particular type of way. I'm showing you. Not telling you, I'm showing you that it's the truth. What you see right here on this camera, some people say, well, you should have a different lifestyle in front of people than outside of people. Man, Yeshua never did. He was who he was in front of the people. He was who he was when they wasn't around. He was who he was. And if I'm going to be a Christ follower, then I'm going to do the same thing. But if you come to me today, I'm going to be the same way, on, off camera, ask my family. It don't matter. I'm still the same person. Sometimes a little awkward, but I'm still the same person. Let me get out of here. I got to go. I'm going to watch some movies, do some little stuff around the house. Family time, good times. 1 Corinthians 7 and 27. Take it for Paul's opinion of how they should have lived in that time period. If you remember that, it can help you out a whole lot more as you read the Bible. Read the Bible. I did. I continue to read the Bible. I continue to read Proverbs. I listen to it. However, I got to get in it. But I have a relationship with God more over than anything else. I love you. I have a wife that cares. I have a couple of sons. They're around here that they may care sometimes. Michael wants to say hi to you guys, so come here real quick. Say hi.
Hi.
You didn't say hi.
Hi.
All right. Oh, Gary's next.
Here comes Gary.
All right. Hurry up. If you want to come say hi, come say hi. You coming to say hi? Say hi. All right. Love you guys. Remember this. Will you go? Will you go? Love y'all. See you again.
Bye.
Until next time. Love y'all.